Hi, everyone. Kevinindiana Jones here. Welcome to the Kevinindiana Jones Show. This is episode 9, I believe. Nine times. Golly. Didn't think we'd go this far. Didn't think it'd go the distance. 9 episodes of this show. Thank you all for joining me. This is, it's still a blast for me. I am going to be taking off next Monday, just so you know. So have that prepared for your psyches, I guess. I don't know. It appears that some of you actually miss the show when it's not on, so that makes me feel real happy. That's really sweet. So, anyways, jumping right into it. This week in Indy, not much. Today, though, I did make some decisions and I did make some purchases. 2 of which are kind of pointless to mention now because it's going to take a long time until they get here. But yeah, I'll mention them later in the year because there's no point now. But I did order, not really specifically Indy, but Indy based. I got a couple of cool old vintage things that should hopefully kind of fit into this all. I got a World War I set of binoculars in a case for that, and a little compass with a sundial on it too. And I think that'll be pretty cool. It should look pretty all right. And I'm just excited about this one today because it's not going to be fully about Indiana Jones. It's mostly going to be, obviously, but we're going to be talking about heroes with Matt Wacker today. It's going to be a joy. If you've seen his pictures, you'll know that he knows his heroes. He does some amazing cosplay. The Batman that he does, holy shit. That's probably the best I've ever seen. Like that's movie quality. That's a jawline for the movies, my friends. And you will see it in moments. But yeah, I just want to talk about heroes real quick. It's the standard Joseph Campbell thing that I learned about growing up after falling in love with Superman the movie and Indiana Jones. I saw, later in school, I learned about Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey. And, it's just basically comes down to a hero, in my opinion, is someone that does either something that no one else can do or will do or wants to do. A hero is someone that faces their fears and still does what must be done, despite the fear still being there. That's one thing that I do love. Certain takes on heroism is that the fear is still there, and yet they still do it. It's not that they aren't afraid; it's that they are afraid, and that's something that's important to me. That they don't erase it; they work through it, they work with it. And a hero has a rough journey. Rarely will you see like a true hero in like sci-fi fantasy that has an easy time. Like Luke Skywalker. Not a great time. He has a pretty rough time, even before the sequel trilogy comes out. He's got a rough go of it. Spider-Man also rough go of things. A lot of tragedy there involved. Superman, his whole planet's gone, for crying out loud. And certain takes of it says that he can't fall in love with humankind, and he can't think anyone is better than the rest. And that itself is torture. That's torturous. That's horrible. And you see it happened to Indiana Jones as well. His hero's journey didn't go so great, and it's not really supposed to, I think, which is really interesting to think about. But yeah, going back to Joseph Campbell on the hero's journey, what makes a hero? We've seen it so many times in all the things I've just mentioned, and it's getting the call to the adventure, meeting the mentor, the ordeal, the resurrection. It really is. It's the standard by which most movie heroes are prepared. Most heroes in general are prepared. Comic books, video games, yada yada yada. It's the go-to recipe. And as I mentioned, Indy is definitely one of them. Although he's kind of in Raiders of the Lost Ark, there is definitely the call to action. And I guess the mentor could be Donovan. Not Donovan, for Christ's sakes. No. Why am I blanking on his name right now? Jesus Christ. Denholm Elliott. I know the actor's name. I am blanking on Marcus Brody's name. For Christ's sakes, I got it. But yeah, that would be the one, I suppose. But it's not so much the mentor. He's kind of being like, don't do this, Indy. This is going to be this is out of your league. So I guess that still works as the mentor thing. But it is pretty cool to see, once you get older, this formula happens in so many different movies. And it's fascinating how well it works. And that it's never going to go away, basically. It's never going to go away. And that's pretty cool. But Marty McFly, he's got some shit he goes through. He's definitely a hero of mine. I don't know about the mentor, yeah, Doc Brown. Yeah, he fits the mold too. Him and Luke, for sure, were huge to me because they were not huge. I am 5'9", and I was a short child. I didn't sprout until, you know, like my later teenage years, but up until then I was like 5'4" for a good while. And you know, seeing these guys in these movies be that around that height, you know, a little taller than me, but you see them being the short guy, the underdog, and that really spoke to me. That really meant a lot to me to see, despite it being in a movie, that the little guy, the shorter guy, can still stand up and be the hero. And it really informed a good amount of who I am growing up watching those kind of things, especially those two franchises, because us short guys don't get a whole lot of representation in movies. But what can you do? Real life heroes, though, that's a completely different matter. My grandfathers, both of them, are definitely heroes in real life for me. My dad's side, Richard Skinner, he was in World War II. He flew in the bomber planes. And we don't know much about what he did beyond that. He never talked about it with me or my father. I don't know if there's a way I can find out, if there's some kind of online system, but I would love to know further. But I could tell it wasn't easy for him to talk about. And it's not easy for me to talk about right now because I know it meant so much to him. I'm sure he saw some horrible things, and the things he had to go through to defend this country. It's definitely a hero of mine. And then, not so much on the war side of things, but just being a hero in general. On my mother's side, Ignacio Acevedo. I'm half Colombian, by the way, if you didn't know that. But he brought my entire family from Colombia, which at the time, things weren't great, basically. And he moved the entire family of, I think it's eight aunts and uncles of mine. So like nine kids total, I believe, 8 or 9 kids total. All to Ohio, to Columbia, from Columbia to Ohio, which is a change. And none of them spoke a lick of English. And my mom actually learned English from the Brady Bunch. So the fact that he was able to do something like that and make a success of himself, showing a good example of how to be, how could that not be a hero? You know, both of my grandparents were both great heroes of mine. My grandmothers as well, obviously, but those two particularly were very important to me, and still are, always will be. But yeah, that's just, you know, my grandfather in the war, that's just how it goes. You don't talk about it all the time, so what can you do? But we can talk about heroes with Matt Wacker. So, Matt, if you're out there, come on and join me. I'd love to have you on. This will be a wonderful little chit-chat. We'll talk about the real-life stuff, the fiction stuff. Should I do this myself? I did it last time and it worked right off the bat. And that door, we'll love the way it rings. Hello. We'll see how this goes. Maybe it'll work. I'll always tell when it just like it kind of shifts to a shitty quality for some reason. I don't know why it does that, but yeah. See, so he requested go live with him. Maybe that'll be it. Shift to shitty quality. No, I'll have a sip of water until this happens. Yeah. So episode 9, we've gotten this right about twice, I think, when it goes immediately right. Who's to say why this happens? Not me, that's for sure. I'm on Wi-Fi, and it's a good Wi-Fi. And my phone is updated, and it's a good phone. Whether it's a good update, who knows? But everything is updated. I don't know why this isn't happening. Enjoy my mug, folks. We'll see if Matt has a mug. That would be fun. Hopefully, it's not an official thing, but it's kind of an unofficial thing to have a mug when you come on the show. Is unable to join, so we shall see. Maybe if he restarts or something. I'm just going to keep on inviting until it works, because, you know. And there we go, it worked. And he's got his Lucasfilm mug. Boom.
Kevin, how the hell are you, my man?
My friend, I'm doing great. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. I love the fact that you're on here. You look terrific, and your background looks badass also already. Just that little bit of thing. So yeah, I don't know if you heard me before, but your Batman, oh man, it's so good. It's just incredible. So
yeah, likewise, you look great. I admire the wall behind you. I see you have your new gift from your wife. That's phenomenal, by the way. That looks amazing. Congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. That was that's one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. So it's been a good week, basically. I just stand here staring in it. She sometimes says, "Let's go look at the thing," and we'll just come in here and stare at it for a while and be like, Ah, that's incredible. Yeah, how are you, pal? It's good to have you on.
I am doing well. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this all week. Talking about heroes. Are we talking about the real ones? We talking about fictitious ones? What are we talking about here?
We're talking about both, my
Oh,
friends. And so we'll start off with actually, who are some of your real life heroes?
wow. Well, that's a loaded question because I have a few in both realms. In my real life, I would say, as I was thinking about this, in my own family, of course, I lost my father last year very early. He was a man that I always, looked up to. He kind of beat by his own drum. He farmed his entire life. We have a big family farm out here in Missouri, and it's just I think about him every day, and I see him every day. Obviously, one of my big heroes there, but also my brother, who is a colonel in our United States Army.
Nice.
He's been to Afghanistan 4 separate times. He works in the Pentagon. He's kind of a big deal, as they say. So I look up to him quite a bit. And several other heroes, people that I've met throughout my years, teachers. I could go on and on, but I think people want to hear more about the fictitious ones, the reason why we dress up, and I've got quite a few of those as well.
I'm sure you do, and I do actually want to go back to my real life heroes as well. You maybe remember my brother-in-law, for crying out loud, Mark, who's been to Afghanistan a few times. He's now stationed here, I believe. He doesn't have to go back, but he's been injured a few times and kept on going back. So heroes
Yeah,
like that is just like someone we can definitely salute to.
yeah, got it.
But let's more have more fun talking about the subject rather than the real life
You're
stuff.
right.
Who are some of your favorite not real life heroes?
Oh, goodness. Well, of course, I mean, the reason why I think we're here, why those who've been on this show in the past and those who will be on in the future, the greatest anti-hero of them all, Indiana Jones. Of course, a lot of comic book heroes, Batman, as you mentioned, one of my favorites. I think, honestly, we haven't talked a lot before this, but I think you and I have a lot in common. There's a certain caped hero who wears red and blue and yellow, and I think we like him very much.
Yes.
So the Christopher Reeve, especially Christopher Reeve's incarnation of the Man of Steel, I tear up every time I watch that movie now. It's just that visceral. I can't help it. As I'm getting older, the more I watch these movies, the more emotional I get, and that's certainly just what Superman means to me. Growing up reading the comics and watching that movie in particular, one of my greatest heroes. Aside from that, of course, Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters. I love the Ghostbusters. Marty McFly, you mentioned him. I love that. Just so many. Mandalorian. I think I could go on and on. It's insane. But I have a lot of a lot of fictional heroes.
Well, the fact that you said Christopher Reeve makes me very happy. I actually got to see him do a speech at the University of Florida back in 2001, I believe, 2000,
That's
2001.
great.
And after the speech, they did a little question and answer thing, and I actually ran down. And before I asked the question, I was like, I just want to tell you that I love
Yeah,
you and thank you for everything.
yeah.
And I got to tell the guy that I loved him, and I saw him smile, and I got to make him laugh, and I have his autograph on my wall. So now I have Christopher Reeve and Harrison Ford's autographs. What kind of life do we lead where we end up with this kind of stuff? It's just insane.
I know.
So yeah, what other any lesser known comic book heroes that you do like?
Oh goodness. I'm sure there are, but I have devoted so much of my my time in my life at this point to really the big two in DC. Those are the ones I've read the most material. I've watched the most material. I've done a lot of studies on those two in particular, and really a lot of the DC, some of the lesser knowns. I find. Those like Plastic Man, who is a complete comedian. He was basically fodder back in the day, but even his story is compelling. I do enjoy a lot of those types of characters, like the Brave and the Bold era of Batman. Those characters in particular, I adore all of those. But for the most part, I stick to the main guy, and all the different versions over the years. Of course, Keaton's Batman cinematically is my favorite.
Yeah,
Don't at me, I'm sorry, but that's the one I'm going to go with.
I
Uh,
agree.
Jim Lee's version of Batman, the comics, one of the best. A big collector of Jim Lee's art. Met the man several times. Very nice. And yeah, like there's just so many iterations, so many versions of Batman and Superman that have been all consuming for me. So
I bet. I bet. I would say, for me, my favorite lesser known would be Booster Gold.
oh yeah,
It was kind of a piece of shit, but deserves a day in the sun.
yeah,
He's gonna get some time eventually, I'm
yeah.
sure, because he's got a quality that could definitely work in movies. So besides Indiana Jones, who would you say you cosplay the most? I think I already know the answer
Oh
to
yeah,
that. Yeah, there
Batman.
you go.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on this cosplay journey now, I would say 7, 8 years. First did Indiana Jones. I think it was like 2015 or 16. I had the horrible, Disney hat, much like everybody when we start out, it's all the stuff before we really get into it and realize, oh my God, this is horrific. I've got to up my game here. But I began on that path, and from there spawned, Han Solo, of course. I forgot to mention him. Love Han.
Yeah.
uh, Superman, doing a John Byrne version from the comics. When it comes to comic book heroes, doing comic book accurate cosplay is really my thing. We see so many of the cinematic versions of these characters, whether it be Batfleck or it be Michael Keaton or Henry Cavill. It's like, okay, I see it, I get it. No, no offense to you. I'm happy for you, but it's just not really my bag. I prefer to kind of pluck what I can from the comics and bring that to life as best as I can. That's where I find the most enjoyment.
Well, you absolutely do that for sure. Is there a particular Batman you base your Batman on? Is it a Jim Lee version or like any other particular
Yeah,
type?
it's the Jim Lee version of Batman from Hush, the
Mm.
classic story from the early 2000s. Just when I first opened those books and the way that he drew the gallery, the Rogues Gallery, the way he drew Batman and Nightwing, and he reintroduced all these characters in a very interesting way, the way he put pencil to paper, and it just blew my mind. So as I grew up and started to find that disposable income, as we all do, this is where it went. So over the years, finding the right muscle suit and finding the right shade of blue and then matching the cape with the cowl and getting the right kind of leather for the belt, like it was a great journey, and the efforts of which are on a mannequin now. And it's rare now that I actually put the suit on. Sometimes if I'm itching for a photo shoot, or I might go to a convention wearing it. Otherwise, I prefer to, again, Indy is just clothes. We can just wear clothes to a convention and be comfortable, and that's favorable. I like that.
Absolutely. I mean, I love the fact that I can have a banquet of KFC and still wear this the next day. Because
Yeah,
if I got to, I can
right.
cover up. It's not a big deal. I don't
Yeah,
got to be in the best shape of all to be Indiana
absolutely.
Jones, and that's a
Yeah.
huge, huge factor for me. Is there a
Tons of pockets,
particular
Tide stick. So if you get a little spillage, you can just rub a little Tide stick on it. You're good to go. Yeah.
Andy? What are you carrying? It's my hot pockets, kid. Leave me alone.
Hot pocket. Yeah.
Is there a particular kind of a version of Indy that you like to do?
Oh, I'm all Raiders
Hmm.
typically. My close friends know, the ones that I've talked to, and I buy new gear. I'm always looking for the tight pinch, the 5.5 inch. Like that's everything I'm wearing here is very much got the Kelso Raiders on, Relic Hunter.
Mhm.
Everything I buy is typically geared toward the Raiders look.
And your hat? Who's that?
That's
Who are you
HJ.
wearing?
That's the poet. Yeah, that's the poet. Got the poet Azuma shirt. Thank you, Azuma. He made this kind of a larger guy. Some of his shirts are a little smaller. So, I had a quick conversation with him, and thankfully he was able to make one that was a bit bigger. So thank you, Azuma, for that. And then, of course, I got the Kelso on.
That's a beautiful looking jacket. Yeah, I have my Azuma shirt on myself. He makes a hell of a shirt, and I thought I was done buying indie shirts, but now whenever
You're
he does
never
another
done,
one,
Evan. You're never going to be done with this. You kidding me? Don't even say that.
I know it's something like I placate myself with, because even my wife is like, no, 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 you say this for everything. You
Yeah.
say you're done, and it's never the end. So I got to acknowledge the
Once you
fact that they did.
try to step foot out, they just find a way to suck you right back in. Yeah, every time. The tractor beam, the tractor beam of cosplay, I call it. Yeah.
What is the appeal of heroes to some people? Maybe most people, but what's the appeal?
Well, it's a great question. I I think all of us internally, we aspire to be a hero of some kind. You know, a lot of heroes obviously start out of fear base. They have to overcome some overwhelming odd. I think intrinsically, all of us deal with things on a daily basis that, you know, once we overcome it, we feel proud of ourselves. We feel heroic. We're able to go into this territory and do something that maybe nobody else has done. And when it's all, when, you know, once we complete that, once we finish that, we have that sense of accomplishment, I think, you know, in your heart, you feel like, wow, that you may not even realize what you've done is heroic, but maybe to the eyes of other people, you are a hero. And I think that's something that everybody should feel very, you know, very proud of, or at least strive to feel that sense of accomplishment so they can have that pride.
That's a fantastic answer. I mean, that was beautiful. That was excellent.
Thank you.
Focus.
Didn't rehearse at all. Yeah.
I mean, like, you're right. Every day there's little things we can do, and it doesn't take that much effort to do it. And whether we think it's heroic or not, you know, just helping someone, it can be heroic. And you know, it's just a simple little act. And damn it, man, that was wonderful. What an answer. What makes Indy such an ideal hero to people?
Well, I think it's the idea that he doesn't want to be a hero. I think, you know, like I mentioned, he's very much the anti-hero. He doesn't know he's doing heroic things. He's just living his life, and he's finding himself in all of these, you know, to the common man, horrific situations. I don't think anybody would be prepared to take on the kinds of things that he is enduring in these movies over the course of a 5-movie arc. But I think the way, you know, his personality, the way he overcomes these obstacles, and how he accomplishes these things, I think that's the attraction for a lot of us. The reason why, you know, maybe it's just Harrison Ford. I know I recently saw a video of him, he being asked that question. He's like, I never play a hero. I never think about being a hero. I'm just, you know, I'm doing a job. I'm acting. I'm just trying to get through it. I think by the end of it, job well done. Like, he's done his job as an actor to make us feel like, wow, what he did and the way he did it was very heroic.
Would you say Indy considers himself a hero at all?
Oh, no, not at all. No, I think he would scoff at the idea. I could, because, you know, I think of Harrison Ford. I think of the way that the way that he acted when he was asked that question, where he just kind of did the,
yeah.
You know, like, that's how, in characters, Indiana Jones, if he had one of his sidekicks, oh, Indy, you're a hero, like, yeah, cool it, kid. You know, like, he would scoff at the whole notion, no doubt.
Be the smirk, he'd be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly.
How many people
are the boys who are out there going to war? That's what he would say.
That's for damn sure. Oh yeah, that's for damn sure. How many people do you think in the movies themselves would be inspired by the heroics of Indiana Jones?
So refine that for me. What do you talk in the
like
movies?
What characters has he come across that would, like, because they met him, would grow up to be better people as a result of having known him?
Oh, I think Short Round. I think it's more the kid. Like, I think Short Round, Teddy, these kids, you know, who see this older man, you know, geriatric in some cases, you know, doing these things. Very impressive for a man who is just retired from university to still be climbing walls at his age and making quips about that, you know. But I still think overcoming these obstacles, being in the heart of danger, especially in the Temple of Doom, and seeing that nothing is going to faze him. He still remains confident. He knows that I think that's also part of it, the confidence, and you know, you're not a hero, but you have that confidence. And to many who are observing, who see that in a person, or in a character in this case, I think are inspired and would easily point the finger and say that's a hero.
Yeah. He sort of does a it's a pretty cool line. It's the fourth Die Hard, but it's when Justin Long asks Bruce Willis, "Why are you doing this?" And he goes, "Because no one else can do it."
Right.
All right. So that's why I'm doing it. Because if someone else could do it, I'd let them do it, but no one else can. So that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And that's very much what Harrison Ford does. Like, he does it because it has to be done.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that in itself is heroic. Because, you know, how many people could just be like, no, I'm walking away from this whole situation. Right. So yeah, that's dead on, I think. I mean, we already saw signs of it in Temple of Doom. So, well, I guess we kind of already answered that. Short Round grows up to be a heroic person for sure, I would
Oh
say.
yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Luckily,
We could get something. I would love to see. Key Kwan. He's so hot right now. He's so hot. I'd love to see him in a Disney Plus show, or just give me something. Give me like an animated series. I know a lot of us are dying for this. We want to see uh, Patrick's version, his animated version of Indiana Jones. We want to see that come to the screen in some form or fashion. I think that would be amazing. I know a lot of folks are AJ Locasio with Gambit, his voice talents with Gambit. He's a big Indy fan. I'd love to see him do something with the Harrison Ford, mimicking that voice. I know he does a lot right now with Han Solo and the Lego series. I'd love to see him use his talents toward an Indy project. I think that'd be amazing.
hell, even in Lego form, I would take an Indiana Jones.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, totally.
That would be fun as hell. Yeah, that's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, give me something. That's my thing. When the fifth movie ended, I was like, okay, is this really the end? Maybe cinematically, yes, maybe not. Who knows? They might spin off something. It's that thing where I would love to see it continue in some form or fashion. I know we're getting the video game, and I can't wait for that. That's going to be amazing. Mm-hmm. But at least in terms of something like episodic, maybe, I think there's always going to be an audience for Indiana Jones. Clearly, I know the movie didn't do great box office wise, but there were a ton of leather-clad men with fedoras and women out there who were really, really jonesing for a good time with the fifth movie, and I hope that Disney does more.
Well, you got to think of how many of us do have kids, and that they love it already. And that it's just out there that the youngest generation out there still, that Indiana Jones is still in people's hearts, even in kids' hearts. And I think that is beautiful in itself, showing that, everyone always does kind of want a realistic hero, someone that they can look up to and be like, I could kind of be like that guy, instead of just, like we love our Superman, but ain't no one's going to be able to jump off a building and stay hovering that way. But
I think that's kind of the riff against Superman right now, is the fact that we know he's all powerful. We know he can do anything. For me, it's more about the inspiration of the character, the hope. Like he's really tormented with the fact that he is all powerful and he can do so much. Whereas you have a character like Indiana Jones who, really there's not that expectation. And I think that's why Superman, there's a rub against Superman, because people don't want to see that apparently anymore. They don't. I mean, I certainly do. I think now more than ever we need a character like Superman in our lives, because there's a lot going on out there, folks. I think we could all use a good dose of just bright colors and hope, and just that Richard Donner verisimilitude style of movie going Superman experience. But yeah,
I was hoping you would say that. I was hoping you would say that, especially that word in particular, verisimilitude, because people, if you cheers to that, cheers to Richard Donner especially. For people that don't know, Richard Donner particularly wanted to take on the project of Superman so that they would do it right, because they saw where it was going, and he just said, like, this is our King Arthur. We have to do this right. And he had a huge sign in the office that said verisimilitude, which basically means realism, truth. Like show the truth, show it actually being in the real world. And it's that kind of thing that added to the hope of it all, because there's that scene where he catches the helicopter, and you see all those people going like, "Yay!" instead of going like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" And just like the fact that they immediately cheer for him, it's just such a beautiful moment. That is my favorite moment in all of heroism. But what would you say your favorite moment of Indy's heroism is?
Oh, wow. I think about obviously saving the slave children in Temple of Doom. I love all these movies equally. I know I talk a lot about Raiders, but those first three movies, I mean, growing up and watching those in my house as a kid was always an event. Last Crusade was a bonding moment between me and my dad, as I think a lot of sons and fathers bonded with that movie in particular. But when I think about his most heroic act, it's the end of Temple of Doom, when you see all those children coming over that hill, being free, going back to their parents. Like that was a big heroic moment. No doubt about that.
Absolutely. And that actually involves kind of a question I asked before. Those kids are going to grow up a little different because of Indiana
Oh
Jones
yeah, yeah.
having saved them, so they'll know that they could be heroes as well. And I love that that was your answer, because that's what I hoped your answer would be,
Oh
because that is
yeah.
truly what I think is it. That's his most heroic moment.
Yeah. Oh, totally. No doubt. I mean, there's moments obviously in the comics if you're into that lore, but I think most of us here we know the movies by heart at this point, and then there's just no doubt that when you see, plus John Williams, the march, hearing the march with those kids running. I mean, it's just, yeah, no question.
That's especially why it works so well, because of the theme song and because of John Williams. And I don't know how heroic the moment is, but the music itself is the most heroic and triumphant. Is when in Raiders, where they're going, I can't find him anywhere on board, Captain. He's like, keep looking, I found him
Yeah,
there, and that music
yeah,
that plays
yeah.
right then. That's the kind of music that I hope plays like when you walk into the gates of heaven. You're like, hell
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I made it. Oh yeah.
yeah. I get chills. I close second for me is, the he just finishes fighting the big German mechanic, and he frees Marion, and they're running across, and it's about to explode, and you hear that music as they're running across the airfield. Like, to me, that's like spine tingling still to this day. Every time I watch it, like I will go back and rewatch that as I approach the scene. I'll rewatch the scene over and over just because John Williams' music. I mean, he is the man. God bless him. Everything he's done has just been pure gold. And he's the soundtrack of my life. And I'm sure, as you know, you're talking about Indiana Jones, but also Star Wars and Superman, the movie. Like, going back to earlier, like that visceral reaction I hear when I hear that Superman theme and I see Chris Reeve, and that the cinematography and the softness with which they shot that movie. It's beautiful. And as I get older, as much as that movie has meant to me over the years and how inspired I've always been by just the character of Superman, I know I'm going to be like a feeble old man one day, and I'll just be sobbing because I'll either have this memory that I'll think back, or I'll just start playing the theme in my head, and I'll just start crying uncontrollably, and they'll
Well,
put me.
my wife it secretly put that involved when we got married. We got married in Central Park, and damn it all, if she didn't secretly have the officiant start with "Can you read my mind?" And I was an instant blubbering mess, and that changed. I mean, I'm not a hater of that scene by any means. I've always loved it, but now I have that added love whenever I watch the movie, which I just watched 2 weeks ago, and it was like the best viewing I ever had. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, the older you get, you just appreciate all these different little levels of things. Like when his
Yes.
dad dies, it just hits so much harder when you get
Yeah.
older. And the music, especially, music is a huge part of the heroic
Oh yeah.
acts in all these movies that we're talking about. And I think that leads a lot into what they've done with the characters, because Alan Silvestri, Marty McFly, all those heroic, amazing parts that he does, and it just adds to the love to it all. And you're dead right. Like, John Williams was the soundtrack to my life for sure, with a couple other additions, but he was the main one. And thank God for
Oh
him.
yeah. Yeah. He's still going strong. God bless him. That's amazing. I hope somehow, if they're able to, like, this is going to sound bad, but you find a way to harvest his brain and keep him going. Put it. We're in an AI world now anyway. We'll have cyborgs walking around at some point. Skynet's about to take over anyway, so why not just find a way to keep John Williams alive for an extra
Yeah.
couple hundred years? It's we got to have that kind of musical genius around for the future.
You just say, Johnny, it's going to be a little
Yeah.
cold. Just be ready for this, but we can't lose you. Sorry, you have no choice in the matter. That's fantastic. Man, that's so good. I forgot what I was going to say.
That,
Anyways, we already talked about Teddy. Indy was definitely a huge influence on him growing up. Do you think, had he not met Indy, would he have kind of gone maybe on a little rougher path
well, I
with
think,
Helena?
yeah, because his main influence is Helena, and if their paths never crossed again, like she goes back to him because she needs his knowledge, she needs his information, and in doing so, she was never hoping to see him again after she got what she wanted.
Hmm.
But again, like, also part of being a hero, feeling compelled to do the right thing. Like he knows he has to go after this thing because, you know, his friend who was blinking on his name, but you know, he knows he has to go and do this. So being introduced to the Teddy character and Teddy being introduced to Indiana Jones, I'm sure, obviously seeing how he conducts his business, the way that, you know, doing the right thing, very stand up, had to have an influence. Otherwise, he would have likely been just as corrupted. I mean, it's what changed Helena's character. Like being around Indy long enough, finally, you know, she caught on to the fact that, like, well, maybe what I'm doing isn't necessarily the best way to live a life. And, you know, by the end of the movie, she's changed her ways. And I'm sure through Helena, however you want to say her name, he was the character of I just forgot his name.
Teddy?
Teddy, yeah, he was influenced by the actions.
Well, he also got to see this old fart come along and have drop these bombs of knowledge. It's like, how are we going to get to there? He's like, hey, give me your gum. And it sticks it in there. And the kid's like, what the hell are you doing? And it actually works. And it just goes to show that in movies, at least, anyone can be heroes. Do you think that anyone can be a hero?
Oh, I do. I think we all live with varying levels of fear and self-esteem issues and confidence issues, you know, but I think if we really look deep within and, you know, maybe take in some of the media and the entertainment, the things that are inspiring, the things that we do enjoy, I think, you know, we can pluck inspiration from those things to do right things, good things when that moment arrives. I think everybody has it. I mean, there's no doubt about it in my mind. Like I always aspire to do the right moral thing, no matter what, and that's because I've watched characters like, you know, Superman, Batman. You know, they're always faced with adversity, and we are too as human beings. Every day of our life, we're faced with hard decisions. Sometimes, you know, we've got to keep that ball rolling. We got to keep moving. And, you know, life is hard, but we always try to do that heroic thing, make the best choice that we can, so that hopefully when it's all said and done, we're on our deathbed, like we have a legacy we left behind, and the people who were around us, the people who were our friends, can feel inspired, look up to us, and be like, wow, that guy, he was actually, you know, a real hero.
Well, I could tell you are, because that just made me tear up a little bit. That was beautifully said. It's a little sacrilegious, but I do like to think every now and then. It's, you know, many people have the what would Jesus do, but for me, it's what would Superman do.
Sure.
And many times it'll just come up, and I'll have to go back. I'll walk away and be like, all right, I gotta do this. I gotta do this the right way. And it's just little steps to take that'll make the world a better place.
Of course.
My friend, if you would believe it, that's it. We flew the hell through that. I'm guessing it's been about 30, 40 minutes, but you are terrific, my friend. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Great question. I love what you're doing here. Keep it going. This is fantastic. I've loved all your guests. Sadly, I haven't been able to watch every episode, but I will say the ones I've caught, it's been very entertaining. Lots of. I see a lot of my friends on here. It's great.
It's such a joy to do, and you can watch it whenever the hell you want, please. But the fact that you're on here now, and I know you don't really do the Instagram live thing too much, so I appreciate that to begin with.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to talk more because of this, because your energy is wonderful. I can tell you're a really great dude, and I hope we get to be better friends as a result of you being on my silly little Kevinindiana Jones show, man. I really appreciate the hell out of you.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a great night, buddy.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Take care. Well, that was absolutely wonderful. Do I do this? Did it stop? Yeah, it stopped right on his face. So, that was good. He had wonderful answers. This one wasn't fully Indiana Jones based, and I'm kind of starting to want to do that because there's only so much about Indiana Jones I can talk about, and I do want to talk about that for a second. I'm getting a little sick of myself, if that makes any sense. Seeing myself on here, having to promote myself, it's a lot. It's a bit much, and it's all for fun, and I really do enjoy it. But things like this interview make me go like, oh, it brings back my energy level. Like I just had some spinach and I'm ready to go again. Skippity boop, skippity doo. So every now and then I will want to take breaks. It's not like a lot of work to do this, but it is work. It is work to do. It's wonderful fun to do. And I will be taking next week off, like I mentioned earlier. But the week after that is going to be a very, very fun little experiment. We'll see how it goes. It'll be the week of the Temple of Doom's 40th anniversary of coming out. And what I want to do is one of these without any planned guests. I want you all, everyone who's watching, anyone who wants, please join me just once for like a minute. Tell me what your favorite thing about the Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom is. Your favorite thing, your favorite scene, your favorite part of the music, whatever you want. Whatever you want. You got a full minute. I would love to have you on. And we'll see how it goes. And I think it should be a good fun time, to the point where I want to experiment with this a little bit more. Maybe take some of your questions and ask the guests your questions. If not, maybe have a whole show where I answer your questions fully. I might do that. We'll see. So we'll see how sick of myself I am at that point. But I do want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for watching this. And I do want to veer into other topics beyond Indiana Jones, but obviously that'll be the basis of everything. And the fact that you're all watching means a lot to me. And if you continue watching, even when I'm not talking about just Indiana Jones, that's going to mean even more to me. But I do promise it'll mostly be sticking to Indiana Jones. But cheers to you all. Fortune and glory. And shit, I was going to end it with another. It's not the years, honey. It's the mileage. Oh, yeah. All right. Yes, I'm going to try to end it every time with a different voice. I love you all. Thank you for watching. And like Zoink Scoop, it's not the years, it's the mileage. Ranks, Raggy. That's enough. All right. Take care, everybody. Good night.